Hi everybody, the Mature Simmer here. So if you're into simulators, you'll likely have been tracking news of one of the biggest debacles in simulator history, the failure to launch of Cities Skylines 2. If somehow you've missed it, here are the highlights. The predecessor to Cities Skylines 2 was a huge success, filling a void left when the SimCity franchise faltered. It had a loyal customer base, a massive modding community, and fueled content creators. When Cities Skylines 2 was announced, the hype machine took over and expectations were sky high. Then the sim released in October 2023, and it has been all downhill since then. If you want the details, there are many excellent videos out there from folks like City Planner Plays, Biffa, and others talking about the stats and red flags all around. The key here is that a franchise may have killed itself because of poor decisions. So as I continue to watch this dumpster fire burn and contribute to the statistics of having bought the game at launch only to have stopped even trying to enjoy it, because nothing you do really matters in the game, something that's also covered pretty heavily by content creators lately, I felt compelled to create this video. My goal here is to focus on another franchise I love, Farming Simulator, that I feel can learn quite a few things from the mess Colossal Order and Paradox made. Some of what I will say I've said before, but I hope it may finally be given the thought I think it deserves in the FS community, and more importantly in the halls of Giant Software GmbH. My concerns here are that I see giants walking the same tightrope every 2 to 3 years or so, and while they have avoided falling off yet, I feel it is only a matter of time unless they change their thinking about core aspects of when, or even why, to release another version of a hugely successful game. If you missed it, and frankly I did and came across it as I prepared for this video, Giants released a statement on February 2nd, 2024, sharing the details of the massive success of Farming Simulator 22 as it stands. 6 million copies sold, 5,600 mods, 80% of which are available on console and PC, 3.2 billion downloads from ModHub, 1.4 million related to FS22, and over 100,000 dedicated servers running in multiplayer mode. If you want a picture of success in the simulation community, especially for a niche product like a farming simulator, it's hard to not use this as an example. A lot of speculation around the decisions that are causing Cities Skylines 2 to crumble was that the decisions were driven by the short-sighted pressures created by being a public company. Recent details and earnings calls from the publisher seem to affirm that. The most important 3 words by Boris Stefan, head of publishing for Giants in the press release, are self-publishing strategy. This offers a lot of freedom in the way of avoiding the shareholder pressure that makes most public companies make stupid decisions all the time for the sake of the next earnings report. Giants notes, and the CS2 community affirms, that the success of both franchises is heavily dependent on the mods. This is a key thing to focus on and the basis of my arguments. I've said it before, and I'm here saying it again. I think releasing a new version of a beloved simulator that is reliant on mods and not allowing backward compatibility of those mods as a core of your design is a mistake. And it may be a mistake you will never recover from. Every time Giants chooses to release a new version and starts over, it risks losing people who just give up waiting for the game to be as good as the previous version was. Another point for Giants to consider in thinking about mods is the revelation that far more people are playing the original 9-year-old Cities Skylines than are playing the new one. While it can't be proven with certainty, the community feedback that this is in large part because of no mods that make the game playable is hard to dispute. My opinion is that companies that keep doing that risk losing their audience. It gets old, and the tired argument that everybody does it is a sorry excuse. To move from good to great, do something different. After well over a year of playing FS22, I am still firmly in the camp that it was not a necessary product. I'd love for anyone to give me a single concrete thing that could not have been modded into FS19. This leads me to my next point, reinforced by the solid base of CS1 play, at a point when the prevailing thinking that goes by the name of wisdom is that the game is too old. Time and again, the community shows they will support a solid game for a long, long time, yet people ignore that and insist that they need to give them something new. And then they screw it up, and you have what happened with CS2. I also want to avoid that with FS. I enjoy the game, but it took far, far too long to get back to parity with FS19, and I fear it will take far, far too long to get back to parity with an FS25 or whatever may be cooking in the Giants' labs. So I resurrect my earlier arguments, because I think they are a solid business model. Make the game a subscription that gives players new content regularly. Said another way, turn the season passes into how the game is sold. Only release a new base game when the underlying engine is the bottleneck, not before. FS22 has more than enough giddy up and go in it to continue for at least another 5 years, if not more, as did FS19, which would still be highly popular now if not for the forced obsolescence that had modders stop and move to FS22. Modders will know they have a long runway, and things like the productions with animated NPCs just released recently will become the norm and likely surpassed because they know the platform will be there for a long time. If they can include backward compatibility in their must-haves, then that would negate the need to not release a new version when a new version is not needed, but it all hinges on the fact that mods are the lifeblood of Farming Simulator. This is where the city building sims and farm sim align. When cities all look the same, or farms all look the same, because only so many things are present and the assets are limited, the creativity that brings players to their console or their PC to fire up another session ceases. It leads to boredom and replacement. The best way I see to avoid that is make an ecosystem where mods last forever, and I offer 2 paths for that. Backward compatibility, or a subscription model of licensing, so that the old "but they need a new game to generate income" trope becomes irrelevant. I get it can be scary to get off the treadmill and be the disruptor in the sim industry, but Giants with their self-publishing strategy has the freedom that other companies that answer to clueless shareholders do not. It takes almost nothing to pivot to this sales model, and if it proves to not work, to just come back and release a new game and keep hoping that people will not walk away when they have to wait around for a year or more for the game to be good again can easily be returned to. They can reassign development resources to work on better feature changes and enhancements, and not writing code to do the same things we already can do in a new wrapper. This also means that players have to understand that the whining about "when will you have a new game" needs to stop. You need to look no further than sports games. How many people, when the new Madden or F1 or NBA this or FIFA that comes out, pop up reviews that the 22 version is the same or worse than the 23 version, and then the 24 version, and on and on. Sports are not unique. We are farming. 4K crops are not going to change your experience, I promise. Adding a whole new gameplay method might. A modder or a Giants developer who is working on something truly new versus just coding the same logic to run a harvester down the field might blow your mind with what is possible. But they cannot do that if they do not have the freedom, space, and time to do it. Having a steady stream of income coming in from us with a monthly or quarterly payment creates room for that space and time. Not asking them to spend time on a new game that is not new at all also creates that space and time. So please, please, the execs at Giants, Give what I've said some thought before you run out and announce FS25. Players, join the chorus asking for a shift and letting FS22 continue to grow and flourish. It's the best way I know to avoid a City Skylines 2 experience in the farming simulator community.